morning, kids. So this will be our module 5 for our general biology, nutrition and digestion. So nutrition, all organisms from the simplest to the most complex need food and take in food materials to stay alive. Where do the food needed by different organisms come from? Some animals eat plants, other eat small animals. Marine animals eat small fishes, and small fishes in turn feed on planktons, which are tiny floating one-celled organisms in water. Many of them contain the green pigments you call chlorophyll. So kids, these are part of our food chain. Pasunod sila. So what about us? Where do we obtain our food? Most of our food comes from both our plants and animals. Where do animals get their food? Ultimately, they depend on plants for their food. For instance, cattle feed on grasses. Chickens eat grains or seeds which are produced by plants. The ultimate source of food is a plant or any organism with chlorophyll. So you can tell your kids, any organism with chlorophyll is the ultimate source of food. Organisms that can make their own food using the inorganic materials from the environment and sunlight are called your autotrophs. Again, kung hiligay nun kini sila kids, bisan sa ila lang nga, kaugalingon pwede sila kaubra sa pagkaon or nutrients in order for them to sustain themselves. These are called your autotrophs. Those naman that cannot manufacture their own food are called your heterotrophs. Again, they cannot manufacture their own food. They are our heterotrophs. Ang autotrophs naton makaubra sa ilang sarili nga pagkaon. Ang heterotrophs hindi. So, for example, ang autotrophs naton, an example of it is our plants. Why? Because our plants provide their nutrients through photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the usual way autotrophs make their food. Heterotrophs, on the other hand, get their food either by absorption or by ingestion. To nourish animals, ingestion of food is followed by digestion. Again, to nourish animals, gina-breakdown nila ilang pagkaon through ingestion by digestion. So, first, sa autotrophs naton, paano titaluwat nagkaubra sang food? Through photosynthesis. So, photosynthesis meaning photo comes from light and synthesis meaning reaction. Kaya again, nagakuha sila from sunlight. Your photosynthesis is a complex reaction in which living things derive and use energy from the sun to manufacture their own food. Green plants, algae, and euglenoid protists and some bacteria are autotrophs, meaning auto kids. Auto pala mismo, it is self. And trophs nga feeders, meaning they produce from their selves. That is autotrophs. And carry out their photosynthesis on their own. Animals other than protists and most bacteria cannot produce their own food. But it depends on other organisms to produce food from them. For example, kita nga mga tao, we are heterotrophs. We heterotrophs are depending on other organisms or animals in order for us to get our daily nutrition para mabuhi kita. So again, those that cannot produce for their own are called your heterotrophs. We as humans are example of heterotrophs. So during photosynthesis, inorganic molecules of carbon dioxide and water undergo chemical reactions in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to yield carbohydrates, oxygen, and water. The overall chemical equation is represented by your 6 carbons and 2 oxygen atoms plus 12 naton nga H2O, which is water, is equals to our chlorophyll next, which is your carbohydrates, oxygen, and water. So that is the chemical equation of our chlorophyll to yield our chlorophyll. Sorry. This equation summarizes the process in terms of its raw materials, other requirements, and end products. Water is both a substrate and a byproduct. When you say substrate, kids ang inyo na gina-liquefy into a solution. So water is both a substrate. Siya yung ginasamuan. For example, you have your water of 90% and 10% nga Zonrox to get your solution of diluted nga sunrock. So what ang ginagamit sa water, it is now a substance. Again, explanation lang siya, hindi siya magawa sa inyong mga test. but to know lang kung anong substrate and a product. So the organic molecules of your carbohydrate is a main product while liberated oxygen is a byproduct. The process will not take place without sunlight as a source of energy, and chlorophyll molecules capture the light. So, muna purpose inyo, chlorophyll is capture the light. Kaya kung wala ganit kids ng sunlight, ang photosynthesis natin hindi siya mag-take place. Kaya again, ang inyong light is your source of energy when you are an autotroph. So next, the requirements for your photosynthesis are your light, your chloroplast, and your pigments. So first, your light. Your light is the chlorophyll molecule that captures energy from a range of varying wavelengths of light. The total light composition is made up of visible white lights, commonly known as your blue, indigo, violet, green, yellow, orange, and red. The invisible spectrum, which consists naman of our ultraviolet and infrared after the red. The spectrum of colors carry different amounts of energy depending on their wavelength. So, dili kids nagakuha sa energy ang ato ng mga photo. That is, the shorter the wavelength, the higher the energy level. Again, sa tanggalipotin mo wavelength, mas kataas ang exposure mo to energy. In the visible spectrum, colors on the right side have longer wavelengths than those on the left side. Therefore, the yellow, orange, and red colors contain less energy than your violet, your indigo, and blue colors. During photosynthesis, all spectra of colors are absorbed by green plants except green, which is reflected. They get most of their requirements from your blue, indigo, and violet colors, although your red, orange, and yellow may also be reflected. So again, kids, your light, nakabase ang iya nga kids, ang iyang spectrum through your colors. The spectrum carries different amount of energy levels depending on their color. So, dira nagapo ato na chlorophyll sang iyang nga source of energy, and what bin ang source of energy through light of different colors. So, that is the source of energy for your autotrophs. Number 1, nagkilangnan niya is light. Next, you have your chloroplast. Your chloroplast, kids, ano naman siya yung chloroplast? Your chloroplast naman, kids, is your photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast. Again, your photosynthesis occurs in your chloroplast. Green spherical bodies located in the middle portion of this. So, di ini siya ang ato ng chloroplast. It is in the green spherical bodies located in the middle portion of the leaves. These bodies are made up of two parts, the stroma and the grana. The stroma is a large central compartment which contains fluids and enzymes, and the grana naman contains your thylakoids, flattened disc-shaped bodies filled with chlorophyll and other pigments. The first phase of photosynthesis occurs in the grana, while the second phase occurs in the stroma. Next naman is the pigment, your chlorophyll, your green pigment, kids, and your carotenoids, your yellow to orange pigments, are two groups of important in photosynthesis. Chlorophyll molecules are considered primary light gatherers because they capture the light energy and use it directly to power your photosynthesis. Again, your chlorophyll molecules are considered your primary light gatherers. Sila gid ang primary nga gatipon sa imong light, whether they are blue, violet, indigo, or any other color. They capture the light and sila gid mismo ang gagamit for photosynthesis to occur, kay sila ang energy. There may be a chlorophyll alpha, your blue-green, or chlorophyll beta, which is your yellow-green. Kung blue-green, alpha. Kung yellow-green, beta. The carotenoids are secondly only to the chlorophyll in order of importance. They absorb light which the chlorophyll cannot gather, then later pass the energy to your chlorophyll. So again, ang primary kids sa atong pigments is your chlorophyll. Sila giding primary light gatherers naton. And your secondary is your carotenoids. Your carotenoids, kids, secondary sila. Why? Because they only support our chlorophyll. Kung hindi masalo sa chlorophyll, kids, si carotenoids ang masalo. Again, sa plants naton and autotrophs, ha? Si carotenoids natin masalo lang ni siya and ihatag naman yapon to our primary light gatherers, which are our chlorophyll. So again, kids, ano ang requirements for photosynthesis? First, you need to have light. Next, you need to have your chloroplast. And lastly, you need to have your pigments, which are your chlorophyll and carotenoids. So these are the requirements for photosynthesis to occur. Next, in our digestion, paano naman kids kung kita naman ng mga heterotrophs? Again, your photosynthesis only applies to your autotrophs. So next, we have your heterotrophs. Our heterotrophs cannot provide food for their own. So ano naman sila kids? For your digestion, your unicellular organisms can directly take in nutrients from their outside environment. For example, the amoeba engulfs diatoms and other protozoa and incorporate them into its food vacuole. Meaning amoeba na to, they eat bacteria and parasites. They are considered as food particles and engulf materials that are dissolved by enzymes secreted by your lysosomes. Once digestion has taken place, the soluble food passes out of the food vacuoles and are distributed to other parts of the organisms. Maghabay ka mo kids, unicellular organism, meaning it is only a one-celled nga organism, meaning it consists of only one typical nga type sang cell. Silang unicellular nga organism natin. Where multicellular organisms or animals, they consist of different types of cells, your organs, and your tissues. That is why they are called multicellular cells or animals, because they are composed or multiple types of cells. Tawag sila kids ng multicellular animals. For example, we as humans are multicellular organisms. Why? Because we are composed of different types of cells. For example, our red blood cells is just one type of cell. Dugo naton bala. Or white blood cell is another type of cell. Again, our organs such as our heart is just composed of tissues, and tissues are made up of your cells. Therefore, we are considered as multicellular organisms. So multicellular animals, kids, have more developed naman and complete digestive systems since they have specialized structures for obtaining and breaking down their food. Animals such as we as heterotrophs must absorb nutrients or ingest food from our food sources. They may be ingestive eaters, ingesting food through the mouth, or absorptive feeders, living in the digestive system of another animal and absorbing nutrients from the animal directly through the animal's body. Was an example of those that are absorptive eaters are parasites, because parasites, kids, such as our Trichuris trichura, such as our kids, your Ascorobis lumbricoides, those are hindi ba kaya kung those are parasites and they prey on us if maging host na nila and ginakaon nila kung ano ang ara sa sulod na to na ginapa. For example, makaon ko ito kids. Ang parasite nga na ang ara sa sulod sa lawas ko, kung ano yung kaon ko, kanon yan na. Ang mga ginatawag ko sa akin, lugayon, na. These are because of parasites. They are known as absorptive feeders. And we as ingestive eaters, kita yung mga tao, we provide and digest food for our nutrients through our mouth. So we are known as ingestive eaters. The examples of absorptive feeders are your tapeworms. Tapeworms, again, is a example of a parasite. So they can also be filter feeders, collecting small organisms and particles from the surrounding water, such as our oysters and mussels. Substrate feeders naman, such as your earthworms and termites, eat the material, dirt, or wood they burrow into. Fluid feeders, such as your aphids, pierce the body of a plant or animal and withdraw fluid. An example of fluid feeders naman, kids, is your mosquito. Again, your mosquito, kids, lamok. These are your fluid feeders because they withdraw fluids from other animals, such as us, ginakuan to nila sa dugo. Next, kung isa pa yung example is your kuto. Ang kuto na kids, gaano na sila, di ba? Sup-sup man sila dugo sa ato ng mga pets. Tama? Kita mo ang kuto man siguro kids, di ba? Kuto nga na, those are also known as and classified as your fluid eaters. The digestive system prepares food for use by hundreds of millions of cells. When we eat bread, meat, or vegetables, they are not in a form that the body can use as nourishment. So again, magkaunta sang tinapay, karni, or sang aton na mga vegetables or mga aton nga prutas, ang aton na mga green leaves. They are not in a form that our body can use as nourishment. So our food and drinks must be broken down into smaller molecules of nutrients before they can be absorbed into the blood and carried to cells throughout the body. So what does this mean, kids, sir? Ano ning naman ginabutangan sa into smaller molecules? Because kids, as is, ang food natin hindi ta siya hatag sa ato na organs and through our cells para to live on. Ginatunaw, ang ginahambal, mapatunaw ko kay busog-busog ko bala. Kung patunaw na, these are our body trying to break down the food that we ingest into smaller molecules such as your carbohydrates. Yan kids, ang ibong meat, gina-convert ya into low soluble, sa low pagid nga molecules kids para magamit sa inyong nga lawas as energy. So digestion is the process, again kids, digestion is the process by which food is broken down into their smallest parts so that the body can use them to build and nourish cells and provide energy. The gut modifies food physically and chemically and disposes of unusable waste. Paano natin gina-dispose? Siyempre, pumuso naton, ginaobra naton nga feces. Ang feces kids, ang tae bala. Ginahaboyan na, and the body only stores kung ano ang kilangnan naton. Physical and chemical modification or digestion depends on our exocrine and endocrine secretions and controlled movement of food through our digestive tract. So, kids, kung paano naman tayo magkuha sa nutrients natin when we are heterotrophs through our mouths. Kahit if paano natin siya gina-digest. Next, you have your nutritional requirements naman, kids. So, nutrition deals with food, its chemical composition, its energy content, and its function. The mode of nutrition exhibited by different organs categorize them as your chemotrophs, phototrophs, heterotrophs, carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores. So, these are the different classifications kung paano, kids, ang different organisms gina-classify and how they get their nutrients. The mode of nutrition exhibited by different organs are categorized in the following of chemotrophs, phototrophs, heterotrophs, omnivores, herbivores, and carnivores. So, nutrient raw materials found in food provide energy and substances needed for growth and repair and sustenance. These are your carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, minerals, and water. Carbohydrates comprising of about 60% or 100 grams per day of our nutritional requirements are found in milk, vegetables, grains, and grain products. So kids, your lipids and fats supply energy twice as much as carbohydrates. So they are found in your vegetable oils, animal fats, butter, and in some fruits such as avocado. So again, kids, di nyo na makita yung inyong lipids and fats. There is as vegetable oils, animal fats, butter, and in some fruits such as your avocado. So, in a sense, kids, mas healthy alternatives sila kung sila kanon mo. And they provide twice as much as regular nga food. So, ano niya, kids, ang rich in carbohydrates? Meaning, kids, mga rich in carbohydrates, an example nila is your rice. Ang kanon naton is rich in carbohydrates but not so much in lipids and fats. So, kung pakanon ka, din mas better kung sino ang may damo lipids and fats or ang may carbohydrates ang din. Therefore, mas namin si lipids and fats. But do take care. Kaya sobra man sa lipids and fats, kids, is not healthy. Ang iba na matabunan na ang imulawas, ang unhealthy oils. Therefore, mag-produce ka sang unhealthy amount of cholesterol. So, na siya. So, dapat may balanced diet ka lang para sa imong nutrition. So next, you have your proteins that are found in meat, eggs, legumes, poultry, and fish. They function for body growth and repair. For example, nagisi akong muscle. Kay sobra akong hakwat bikagina. So you need your protein para mag-repair sa imong broken muscle tissues. So protein is for your growth and repair. Normal carbohydrate and lipids supply energy. Carbs and lipids supply energy, while your protein can be used for body growth naman and repair. So, dapat balaan nyo kung ano ni ang mga pulos nila. Mumula na importante na. Kids, kung balaan nyo kung maghambat ko mo lipids, fats, carbohydrates, nga ginakaon ko na, lang ko ni. Again, lipids, fats, and carbohydrates supply energy, while your protein is for body growth and repair. So next, we have your vitamins. Balaan nyo ng kids kung ano purpose ni lipids, ni fats, ni carbohydrates, and proteins. Next, we have your vitamins. Vitamins naman are organic molecules which are either fat-soluble or water-soluble. They perform functions such as the formation of visual pigments, acting as coenzymes, and formation of bones and teeth. So again, kids, your vitamins, ano naman yung purpose nila? They perform functions such as formation of visual pigments, acting as coenzyme formation of bones and so what does this mean? Anong purpose of vitamins? They act as a support for in order for you to boost your immune system, and they are acting as coenzymes in order to support the pre-existing nga nutrients nga ara na sa aton lawas sa mga nag-iinom ta vitamins para mag-usog aton immune system and such. Next, you have your minerals. Minerals, ano naman sila? They are inorganic substances needed for metabolism, muscle contraction, blood cell formation, and nerve coordination. Example of your mineral is your iron. They promote what? Better blood production and circulation. So, siya kids ang inyong minerals. Next, you have your water. Provides medium in which all body reactions take place. It bathes cells and lubricates other tissues and organs. Because water naton madanlog kay liquid siya. It provides the medium in which all the body's reaction take place. So that is the purpose of water kag naagainom kita. Next, you have your types of digestive systems. The digestive system uses mechanical and chemical methods to break food into nutrient molecules that can be absorbed into the blood. The two types of our digestive systems are your incomplete and complete. So the first is exhibited, meaning the first ang incomplete natin, is exhibited by many invertebrates that have a single common opening for food intake and discharge of waste. The second, however, our complete digestive system is true to all vertebrates which use more efficient tube within a tube plan with food entering through one opening, for example, siya nga bakbak, and waste living through another. So the kids, ang invertebrates natin, they are incomplete because they have a single common opening for food intake and discharge of waste. These are ang mayara sang incomplete digestive system. Sinong mayara? Sino ang invertebrates. Meaning, for example, makaon ko sa baba ko, magwa ang ako na tae sa baba ko man. So, these are incomplete digestive system. Sino mayara? Sino ang invertebrates. Ang complete kids, lain ang opening for ingestion of food or ang pagkaon naton, kumbaga, kung sila kay ng pagkaon naton, kakaon ta sa aton na mouth or sa aton baba. Pero ginapagwa tayo ang aton waste or ang aton nga feces or ang aton tae, napagwa tayo through our anus sa aton nga buli, ang sabuho, yada bala. Meaning, complete kaya ang aton digestive system mga humans. We are known as your vertebrates. So, there are two patterns of digestion. Your intracellular, magambal ka, intra, letter I, kids, within the cell. And extra naman, kids, meaning, sa sagwa naman. You have your two patterns of digestion, intra and extracellular. So, in chapter 2 natin, kids, we defined phagocytosis. Sa chapter 2 natin ng module, we define phagocytosis as the process by which food is engulfed by the cell for eating or storage. In intracellular digestion, food is taken into the cells with phagocytosis, with digestive enzyme being secreted into phagocytic vesicles. This type of digestion occurs in your sponges, the quaternates, and most protozoans. Mga protozoan, kids, these are your microorganisms such as your parasites, such as your tapeworm. Dira naman sila, kids, ang imo nga intracellular digestion. Sinumayara sila your sponges, your quaternates, and your protozoans. Mga gagmay ng organism nga hindi natin makita without the help of your microscope. While in your extracellular digestion, the process occurs in the lumen or opening in the digestive system, with the nutrient molecules being transferred to the blood or bodily fluids. This type of digestion occurs in chordates, annelids, and crustaceans. So these are two. Ano luwat ang two types of digestive system? Your incomplete and complete. And anong patterns ng two digestive systems natin for digestion? It is your intracellular within the cell and your extracellular outside of the cell. So next, you have your stages of digestion. You may read it lang kay common na siya ni. You have your movement, secretion, digestion, absorption, and elimination. Movement mo is when when your food is propelled through the digestive and through ingestion, meaning pagkaon ta kag pagtulon ta, movement takes place. Your secretion naman are the digestive juices are released in response to a specific stimulus, digestion. If mag-breakdown na ta, for example, nagkaon ko karne, nagsulod ko sa sakong tiyan, pag digest ko siya, ginaamat-amat na sang lawas ko, breakdown into smaller molecules para maka-process sa akong plasma membrane. And next, your absorption, gina-absorb na siya amat-amat sang akong nga mga organs, tissues, and cells in order for them to to provide nutrition for themselves in order para mabuti kita. Step 5, and lastly, elimination. Undigested food and waste products are removed. How do you eliminate them? Through excretion. Excretion, paano natin ginapagawa ang ato na mga waste products sa tain natin, di ba? Kag sa ihi. So, digestion can also be summarized into 3 phases: digestion, proper absorption, and assimilation. So, next, now that we know how nutrition and digestion works, kids, sa humans, kids, sa muni ang aton. So we have the human digestive system. The digestive system is a series of hollow organs joined in a long twisting tube approximately 9 meters long, extending from the mouth to the anus. The digestive system, which includes the salivary glands, liver, and pancreas that secrete digestive juices, teeth, tongue, which aid the mechanical digestion. So the alimentary canal or gastrointestinal tract, or your GIT for short. First, our mouth. Food enters the digestive system through the mouth or the mucous membrane lined in our oral cavity. The labia or lips, labia, kids ang ating lips, protects its outer opening or cheeks, forming our lateral walls, and hard palate, soft palate from anterior-posterior group. So food is expressed by the teeth through the act of chewing or mastication. In an adult, a complete set of teeth is made of 4 incisors, 2 canine, 4 premolars, and 6 molars. 32 teeth in all and 16 pairs na sila. So each type is adapted to perform specific functions. Food particles are chewed or masticated by your premolars and your molars, aided by saliva. Ang mga kids, magkaon kita, mag-chew kita, basa-basa ang ato ng baba because saliva is aiding in your digestion para mahapos magtulon. The tongue also aids in digestion and serves for food selection and manipulation. In short, sa common sense natin taste buds, kag nga aton nga tongue, sila na ang kapabuli kung ano gusto natin kag hindi. May favorite na food, kag may hindi tauyan na food. Depende sa preference of each person. The tongue has a taste buds on its surface which allow appreciation of food which sample potential hazards such as chemicals and other toxins. So, kung hindi siya edible, kids, gina-reject na sang aton nga dila. It is due to our taste buds. So, this is a picture of how we ingest our food. Tanawan nyo, kids, you have your mouth, your teeth, your tongue, your salivary gland, dira nagkakadto ang aton nga ginasudlan sang food and other nutrients. And din sila gagwa, look carefully pag panaog ya, pag abot sa stomach mo into your pancreas, ya distribute siya where? Into your kids, into your large and small intestine and into your anus. Kung magpagwa ka na sang waste mo, or pwede man sa imo, kids, nga urine, ginapagwa man imo waste imo urine, if hindi sa imo nga anus. So these are the steps in digestion, kids. So next, anong parts, kids, nga ara sa ila nga ginagamit naton? You have your esophagus, you have your stomach, your epithelial cell, your small intestines, large intestines. So ano nila purpose, kids? So first, we have your stomach. The stomach is a C-shaped organ slightly inclined to the left side of your abdominal cavity. It is divided into your 3 parts: your cardioesophageal sphincter, which guards the entrance of your esophagus, your fundus, which is the body of our stomach, and your pyloric sphincter, it closes the junction of the stomach and the intestines, which is serves as your barrier. Next, you have your epithelial cells lining the inner surface of the stomach, secrete about 2 liters of your gastric juices per day. The gastric juices contain your HCl, your pepsinogen and mucus, ingredients important in digestion. Your hydrochloric acid activates pepsinogen by lowering its pH and kills your microorganisms. Therefore, for example, kids, may nagsulod man nga microorganisms sa aton lawas, most likely pat yun man sila gyapon sa acidity sang aton nga stomach because gina-lower ya ang pH into in acidic level para hindi makabuhi ang microorganisms nga ginahaklo kag ginatulon naton. Next, we have your pepsinogen, an enzyme produced in the gastric pits and produces pepsin that controls and hydrolysis of fruits into peptide, while mucose lubricates the stomach wall and protects the stomach from digesting it. The stomach also mechanically churns food, chime the mix of acid and food in the stomach, and leaves the stomach and enters the small intestines. Next, you have your small intestine. Ano naman sa kids? The small intestines are coiled tube over 3 meters long and is the site of final digestion and absorption, meaning final digestion and absorption diri siya last nagaagi kag gina absorb sang aton lawas. The coils and foldings in villi give it a surface area of about 500 to 600 meter long tube. It is divided into 3 sections, namely your duodenum, your jejunum, and your ileum. The duodenum, kids, is the first part of the small intestine. It is a C-shape and 10 inches long. The jejunum is the middle portion of the small intestine. It is about 8 feet long. It contains your circular folds carrying the villi. The cells of the villi functions for the absorption and digested foodstuff. The remaining 6 feet of the small intestine make up your ileum, whose end portion empties the cecum. So again, first nag-exist sa duodenum naton. Gagawin sa jejunum naton. And siya ang function ng jejunum for the absorption of our digestive stuff. After yan na absorb kag tanan waste products naton, kids, ang aton nga ileum diri naman siya gaagi aton waste products or ang tanan nga hindi na natin sa lawas naton and it into the cecum. So that is our small intestine. Again, anong 3 parts of small intestine is our duodenum, jejunum, and our ileum. The next, starch and other polysaccharides broken into disaccharides such as your maltose, sucrose, and lactose are finally digested into your small intestines. So para maklaruhan na kamo kids, your disaccharides are your sugars such as your maltose, sucrose, and lactose. Mga sugars ni sila ha. The villi have cells that secrete intestinal juices which complete the digestion of your carbohydrates. Among them, your maltose, sucrose, and lactose, which convert into their respective components, glucose, fructose, and galactose compounds. Again, gonna break down into simpler molecules para ma-absorb and digest natin. So next, fat digestion is completed by the time the food reaches the ileum of the small intestine, meaning siya ang final byproduct. The liver naman produces bile which is stored in the gallbladder before it is poured in the duodenum. The bile functions such as a fat emulsifier, thereby facilitating the breakdown of fats into smaller globules until they can be acted upon by lipases. Bile contains cholesterol, phospholipids, bilirubin, and a mix of salts. So now that we know kung ano ang ato na small intestine, kids, we will now go into your large intestines. The large intestines naman natin, kids, or the colon, again, other name for your large intestine is your colon. Consists of 4 regions. The ascending colon from the appendix in the right groin up to the flexure of the liver. The transverse colon from liver to spine. Descending colon naman from your spine to your left groin, and your sigmoid S-shape ni siya, kids, colon back to the middle anus. Back to the midline and anus. The cecum is a small sac-like outgrowth of our jejunum, important in some animals as a repository for bacteria so that the organisms will be able to digest their cellulose. A blind ending of our cecum, the equivalent appendix, can be a source of trouble such as your appendicitis if infected. Mga kids, ang inyong nga blind ending sa ating system is the equivalent appendix. Kung mag-inflamed ni siya, ang aton kids nga blind endings ng system naton, we may suffer your appendicitis, mag-inflame siya or basic infections of microorganisms or other harmful nga foreign microorganisms na gasulod sa ating lawas. The anus is composed of our voluntary and involuntary sphincter, which makes it able to distinguish whether contents are gas or solids. So, anong purpose ng large intestine? Our large intestine reabsorbs water and eliminate indigestible residues such as your feces. Water, salts, and vitamins are absorbed and remaining content in lumen form your feces. Bacteria in the large intestine such as your Escherichia coli or your E. coli produces your vitamins that are absorbed by the intestines. Again, kids, ang E. coli nga ni is bacteria. Ang E. coli nga ni kids, again, is bacteria which can be found anywhere. Kasi ginakaon naton, if wala tayong tilaan mayo. So, mayo man kay may ara tas ang large intestine nga maka-absorb and makapatay sa ila if they are not killed in our stomach through dark acidity. Aside from reabsorption and digestion, the large intestine produces your mucus that protects your epithelial tissues and neutralizes acids produced by bacterial metabolism. So next and lastly, kids, we have your digestive glands. We have your salivary glands, your pancreas, your liver, and your gallbladder. So first, kids, your salivary glands, and the three pairs of salivary glands present in the mouth are your parotid, submandibular, and sublingual glands. These are your three pairs of salivary glands. They're parotid, submandibular, and sublingual glands. These glands secrete saliva. Ito lang, salivary glands in three parts. Again, parotid, submandibular, and sublingual glands. They secrete saliva, a mixture of your mucus and serous fluids. The saliva contains your salivary amylase, lysozymes, and lysozymes which are antibacterial, and your antibodies. The chemical digestion of carbohydrates starts in the mouth when salivary amylase breaks down the starch and your amylose into a disaccharide molecule. So in some mammals, insects, saliva may be poisonous and subduing to its living prey. Amo kisa kids nga pagkagat sa imo sang isa ka animal, usually ka-poison ka because their salivary amylase is toxic when introduced into our body. Next, we have your pancreas. The pancreas is both an endocrine and exocrine gland. The exocrine part produces pancreatic juices which contains the digestive enzymes that enter the duodenum via our pancreatic duct. The endocrine part produces insulin. Insulin, which is the blood sugar regulator. So again, purpose ni pancreas, produce your pancreatic juice which contain digestive enzymes that enter the duodenum via the pancreatic duct. So kung simple yung talang para hindi ka magamuhan, ang atong kids nga pancreas, sila ni kids ang nagaproduce ng juices para makontrol atong blood sugar kag para kung anong sa lawas ta. Ina-regulate lang kagamulan na ipasulod niya. So that is the purpose of our pancreas. Okay? Next, you have your liver and gallbladder. The bile, a watery greenish fluid, is produced by the liver and temporarily stored in your gallbladder. The bile enters the common bile duct through an opening near the pancreatic duct in the duodenum. It contains bile salts, bile pigments, and cholesterol and phospholipids. Bile salts and phospholipids emulsify fat, and the rest are just excreted. Meaning, kids, ang liver gallbladder na to serves to emulsify fat, bile salts, bile pigments, its cholesterols, gina-emulsify, and the rest nga hindi emulsify, kids, gina-excrete lang natin, through our pamuson. Paano ganit mag-excrete doon? Magpamuson. Kita gina-excrete lang. So, gallstones are usually cholesterol-based and may block hepatic or common bile ducts causing pain and jaundice. Jaundice natin, hepa, diba? Usually, kids, may gallstones ka mo, gina-operan ka para ko because they are harmful sa aton nga body because they block the hepatic and common bile ducts natin, which leads us to not emulsifying fat. Mapatay ta kung na-block na ito ng bile ducts. So, in addition to our digestive functions, may function po yung iba ng ato na liver. Number 1, to detoxify the blood. Number 2, to synthesize blood proteins. Number 3, to destroy your old erythrocytes. Mga pong erythrocytes, kids, red blood cell, yun lang na, dugo, yun lang na. And convert your hemoglobin into a component of bile. Number 4, it produces bile. And number 5, stores your glucose and glycogen. And 6, produces urea from amino groups and ammonia. So kids, amo na ka-importante atong liver and gallbladder. So, advice ko sa inyo, hindi ka masagi inom sang alcoholic beverages, and if possible, don't drink too much medicine because it will in the long term damage your liver and gallbladder. Okay, so that will be all, kids. The regulation of appetite na lang gid ang nasa ton. You will read na lang ni kay common sense naman lang ni. For example, your two centers of the brain, the appetite center, your satiety center, control your hunger, while 3 hormone regulation, gastrin, your secretin, and cholecystokinin. The purpose na sila, it is self-explanatory na lang, kids. So, thank you for your time and have a good day, kids. Bye.